So about 30 years ago, I did my first mango grafts. I was living in another house that's about a half a mile from here, and I did not have a shade house like I do now. Now, I was interested in mangoes and had never grafted before, so the first thing to do was to get rootstock. So I asked one of my neighbors if I could dig up some of the seedlings under her big old tree, and she was more than happy to have them go. And so I dug up mango seedlings, put them into 1-gallon pots, got them established in the 1-gallon pots, and then looked for some graft wood. This was before the days of buddy tape, so I used the grafting tape that is very similar to nursery tape, except for not green. It doesn't make a complete 100% seal of the moisture in the, but it does the trick. So I grafted 10 or 12 trees. I kept them underneath an awning on a patio that was on the east side of the house. The thing that really surprised me is that 80% of those grafts took. I didn't expect that much success, and I was just thinking about that whole experience recently because some of the recent grafts that I've had fail have made me think, what could I do differently for the grafts that would make them possibly more successful? Of course, time of year is a factor, and the stage of growth of the scion, and there's all sorts of things that can influence the success of grafting. But I want, like almost all of my grafts to take. Of course, everybody does, but I was thinking about my early experiences with grafting, and decided to try a sort of an experiment. And behind me is part of that experiment. This is the breezeway, not a great place for as far as wind flow, because sometimes wind can really be magnified through the breezeway, but it is a sheltered location. There's no direct sun here. It's fairly shady. These plants will get morning sun, and of course there's no overhead irrigation and no rain that's going to fall directly on these plants. So I've set up some areas here just today, in fact, by putting the shorter plants on the bottom shelf and taller ones above. And I'm just going to see if this is going to be a higher take rate than the ones that I have put into the shade house. I've done several different styles of grafts. This is a side veneer graft and top cleft, and all sorts of different conditions of rootstock. And I'm hoping that we can make some generalizations from that. Of course, these will require slightly more labor than the ones in the shade house, because I will physically have to water each of these, but it's not that much of a task to do that. So basically, I'm thinking that keeping the plants dry and the soil watered is going to increase the chance of success. So we'll check back on this and see how it goes.